TandLers. Welcome to TandL Talks, the podcast for, about, and featuring Puyallup teachers. I'm your host, Nancy, and today's episode is all about core connections, a powerful approach to integrating science and social studies into daily instruction. Core Connections started as a pilot with a small group of dedicated teachers who wanted to make better use of instructional time while ensuring students had meaningful learning experiences in science and social studies. Together, they created an integrated scope and sequence designed by teachers and continuously modified by teachers to ensure that students build knowledge in a way that strengthens connections across content areas, deepens engagement, and aligns with essential standards. This year, Core Connections has expanded to 4 schools, K-5, Brulette, Meeker, Pope, and Hunt, where teachers are leading the way in refining and adapting the approach to best meet student needs. And we're not stopping there. Next year, we're looking to expand the pilot even further, adding 2 to 4 more schools to this exciting initiative. Our long-term goal is to expand Core Connections to all 22 elementary schools over time. To give us an inside look at how Core Connections is working in classrooms, we have 2 fantastic conversations today. First, we'll hear from Kim Moran and Tina Daniel, 2nd grade teachers at Brulette Elementary School, who will share the impact that they've seen on student learning and engagement. Then we'll be joined by Katie Taylor, Stephanie Hayden, and Brittany Spencer, teachers from Brulette and Hunt, to discuss how Core Connections has transformed the way they plan, collaborate, and teach. All 5 of the teachers that you'll see today currently serve on the Core Connections leadership cadre. This is an exciting shift in how we approach instruction, and I can't wait for you to hear from these amazing educators. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to this episode of TandL Talks. We have 2 fabulous teachers this morning. Can you tell us your name and what school you're at and what you teach?
I am Kim Moran. I am 2nd grade at Brulette.
And I'm Tina Daniel, 2nd grade at Brulette also.
Thanks for being here. We're talking about Core Connections, and you have both been involved with Core Connections for a couple of years. And I just wanted to ask you some questions about your experience. So what's something positive you've seen in your classroom or your school since you started doing Core Connections?
I think one of the great things is the discussions the kids are having, even in 2nd grade. They are so rich. They understand the vocabulary. And not only that, but we're hearing stories from like 3rd grade saying, oh my goodness, everything you did about Greek mythology, the kids are so excited now to bring it to the Romans. And so they're seeing connections, and that's just exciting.
That is.
Yes, and I've seen my students carry the work farther. They're wanting to now do research on their own and make PowerPoints to share with other classes.
That's super cute.
Yeah.
I love that. So how has Core Connections changed the way you teach science and social studies?
I think, again, the biggest thing is the kids feel ownership in the learning. They're driving some of the learning, their discussions, they're questioning, they're even questioning me as a teacher and asking me to look things up, making sure that they're understanding things. It's just exciting to see that engagement in the students.
And with integration, being able to actually spend the time and dive deep into the vocabulary in the lesson, I feel like the students just understand it better because we're able to take that time and let the kids discuss the topics.
Right. And I hear from both of you that piece of student voice, right? Which is, of course, super important for learning, but it's also right there on our Danielson framework where it talks about student engagement and student voice and how important that is. So.
Yes, and even in my math, they're carrying that over. So seeing my students want to lead in math and lead the discussions, and they didn't do that before. I see that more often now.
Awesome.
And my students are excited when the kids lead it. They're like, hey, when he leads it, I understand and can relate to what he said. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good
Thanks.
to hear. Right, exactly. As she said, they're taking over, right?
Right?
Which is great.
Well, and I think too about all those future teachers that are being created right now, right?
Yes.
Because when you get a chance as a kid to do things like that, it builds that hunger for teaching when you grow up. How's this project helped you see science and social studies differently?
I think it's just provided the time to dive into the subjects deeper. Before we were doing this, I felt like we were on a hamster wheel, just trying to get through stuff, checking the boxes, got that done, got that done. I feel like the kids have such a greater knowledge of what's going on. I had another teacher say from another school that seeing the difference between my students that are integrating just allows them way more time to digest the information. Again, not just a checkbox, but their understanding.
And for me, I've always loved teaching science and social studies, so I always would fit it in my day, but trying to shove it in the day and make sure the kids getting everything else that we're supposed to put in the day was tough. And now I get to just enjoy the time in science and social studies and be able to teach all of the skills still from all the curriculum, but not have to cram it all in one day.
Mm-hmm. So what are some challenges that have come up with Core Connections, and how has your team worked through some of those?
One of the challenges was when we first started putting 2 sciences in a day, we realized that if there's a hands-on piece, oh wow, it's really hard to try to do that. So wait a minute, we need to realize that some lessons need 1 lesson a day and some you could do 2 a day.
And then to piggyback on that with the science, if we were doing 2 in a day, going, okay, the first one, you're going to give them the background knowledge. We're going to talk about what we're doing. But then the second one kind of flows into what you did the first time. So you don't have to do all that prior knowledge that you checked on the first one, because you're just flowing from one to the next. So you look at it and you think, oh my goodness, it's 2 lessons. But it really is just integrating them again. It just makes it more compact and they understand more.
Yeah, and you might just draw a stick and call on a student and say, oh, remember yesterday we talked about, and just have them answer a question or 2. And that way you pull up what you taught the day before, but don't have to go over that prior knowledge because we just did it.
Right, you didn't teach the lesson a week ago.
Exactly.
When you were rushed and you needed to get to recess, right? It's
Exactly.
like, okay, it fits in differently.
Right.
Where do you see this project going in the next few years, and what impact do you hope that it has district-wide?
I think we're both really excited about it. It makes it more manageable as a teacher, and we're excited too. We were talking to some of the others about how do we plug in the writing piece too. I think everybody has questions about writing, which there are spaces for writing in both science and CKLA, knowledge skills, everything. So, but showing other teachers where we're doing it too.
And I'm also excited, I was talking about pulling those social studies standards in and knowing where we're highlighting those, because we are teaching them, but are we highlighting those for the students so that they can carry them with them? So I'm excited to add that piece in with our writing. We always integrate the reading, writing piece. It comes naturally for most teachers, but knowing if you're hitting those social studies or science standards don't always come naturally.
Exactly.
So it's nice to be able to see that we're using those and highlighting them in the lessons. So.
Great. Anything else you'd like to share about your experience with Core Connections or your students' experience?
I just think it's exciting as teachers who have been around for a while. It keeps our education experience as professionals exciting, because once you've been somewhere for so long, sometimes you kind of just do the same thing. But with doing this, it's allowed something new.
Great.
And I love the connections with your teammates, because we're always keeping each other not only on track, but like, oh, I use an anchor chart with this lesson. You might want to pull an anchor chart out. Just being able to connect with that and connecting with teachers in a lower or higher grade level and seeing that oh, you taught the students this, and I'm being able to see it in my classroom, and then talking with the grade above us, they're able to take what we taught and grow on that. Katie was talking to us about that, being able to add in like, oh, you already taught them this, now I'll build on that.
Right. I think of with both science and social studies how we just haven't prioritized that, especially in the lower grades, which means that, yeah, 4th and 5th grade, they've had to sometimes teach K-5 science. And when we're teaching science and social studies all the way along the way, that will free those intermediate teachers up in the future, won't it?
That's exactly. I was talking with a 5th grade teacher about that and how with all of us integrating science into the lessons, they won't have to back teach so much.
Right. Well, thank you both for being here on TandL Talks today and for sharing your perspective. I appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm welcoming another team to TandL Talks here to talk more about core connections. Could each of you please introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Katie Taylor, and I teach at Brulette and teach 3rd grade.
I'm Stephanie Hayden, and I teach kindergarten at Brulette.
I am Brittany Spencer, and I teach Hunt Kindergarten.
Well, thank you all so much for being here on TandL Talks today. Tell me, what's something positive you've seen in your classroom or your school as a result of doing core connections?
Something that we've seen, I think specifically at our grade level, is kind of during our PLCs. It's kind of opened up conversations between our team to be more purposeful in our planning and our pacing, and I think that's been pretty positive for us. So.
Great.
I think I've noticed just less stress for the teachers of trying to fit everything in instead of trying to do social studies and science and everything all at once. We can kind of swap those and give ourselves a little bit of leeway.
The vocabulary between the kids and connecting specific lessons has been really exciting to watch.
Thank you. So how do you think Core Connections has changed the way you teach and the way kids learn?
One of the things I think that we've noticed and we've talked about during our PLC has been how they've had more opportunity to be engrossed in the subjects and to not only catch it one time, but to be catching it throughout the day. And things that they're catching on to that maybe we haven't seen in the past, that we appreciate and see that, oh wait, hey, this is something that is helping our kiddos. So, I'm positive.
I think of that Natalie Wexler quote, right? Knowledge like Velcro sticks to other knowledge. And I think that's what you're all creating. Anything else that you wanted to add, either of you, to how Core Connections has impacted the way you teach or the way kids learn?
I think it just allows us some extra time for kids to really collaborate and get into the content instead of just like, go, go, go.
Right.
I feel more confident in my own abilities when I have like it mapped out for me visually, because I'm a visual person. Being able to see what I'm doing currently, but be able to kind of visually plan out ahead of time what's coming up and what I need to prep for has been kind of a stress reliever for myself. So yeah.
Good. Has this project helped you to see social studies and science instruction differently?
I feel like kids are so excited about those topics. To see them more persistent throughout the days and the weeks helps them. They like learning about science. They like learning about social studies, and it gives them an opportunity to be excited about something and learning and something to look forward to through the day. At least that's what I see.
I think we're able to prioritize it more than we were before, where before it was, we're teaching reading, we're teaching math, and then we're going to try and sprinkle those in whenever we can. And now it's more of a whatever
It's
word
built
I'm
into
thinking.
our
Yeah.
built into our year basically, and the excitement and curiosity when the kids are like, well, when are we going to do that, and when are we going to get to play with those again? And it is exciting, and the kids ask for it a lot. It's the hands-on, the brain building activities that get them excited. Yes.
And it just helps contextualize the learning for them too, right?
Yeah.
You're not teaching so much in isolation. What challenges have come up with core connections, and how have you and your teams managed those challenges?
I think it's been a challenge and also been a help. I know that's kind of weird
Yeah.
to say, to fit things in with our personal schedules and our team schedules, and when we have things that break up our times, are we finding that time, and can it be used effectively during the time that we're given?
Mm-hmm.
I just think majority of the time it's a lot of just finding the moments to like reflect on the things. It is a very quick go, 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 and so a lot of the times I wish I had a little bit more time to like sit and reflect or ponder about like, hey, what did we just learn? What are we going to continue and take that knowledge to the next unit? And so being able to sit and reflect with the kids is something I wish we could do more of, but that's all I can think of.
Now, Katie, you teach third grade, and Burlette has been doing core connections since the very beginning. Have you noticed a difference over time with the kids entering your classroom with a different level of knowledge?
Yes. So, like, this is the first year that we've really seen them expressing, hey, we did this last year. Hey, this is, or telling us, or informing us almost sometimes of things that maybe we don't have the background in, which is kind of fun.
Interesting.
It is. And then also, second grade tells us, hey, just wait till the next group comes up. You're going to see that even more, which is exciting for us.
Right. Well, and I wonder over time what impact that will have on third through sixth grade teachers and your planning, right? Because what you've taught before, if kids are coming in with a different level of background knowledge, your planning will be a little bit different. Where do you see Core Connections going in the next few years, and what impact do you think it's going to have in our district?
I think one of the things that I was reflecting on about that question is, like, as we grow with how integration works, it's going to become secondhand. It's going to be something that's natural to us, that's intuitive. It's like, I think when it first begins, you feel like you're your teacher again, and you're trying to figure out how this is going to work with my teaching style. And as we know the curriculum better, as we know how it works and how kids respond to it, I think it's going to become easier.
My hope is that eventually that we're able to use all of our curriculum pieces as a one cohesive unit, and that we're pulling from each individual lesson and having them work together. It's been super cool to see those connections, and I would love to see those more connections with math, with SEL, and having those more positive opportunities to work together as a unit and have them cohesively work together.
Yeah, really fine tune how we're working the different pieces together and come up with that solid plan.
Anything else you'd like to share with your colleagues about your experience with Core Connections?
2 thumbs up.
All right, I love it. Thank you for being on TandL Talks today. We appreciate your leadership here and your time in front of the camera, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A huge thank you today to Kim, Tina, Katie, Stephanie, and Brittany for sharing their experiences and insights. It's inspiring to hear how Core Connections is not only making science and social studies more engaging, but also helping students make deeper connections across subjects. From increasing student discussions to improved collaboration among teachers, this model is proving to be a game changer. What stands out most is how Core Connections is shifting the way we teach, moving beyond checking boxes to truly immersing students in content. And as we continue this journey, it's exciting to think about the long-term impact. Students entering upper grades, including junior high and high school, with a stronger knowledge base, teachers collaborating more purposefully, and science and social studies becoming core parts of daily learning rather than an afterthought. Because as we all know, teaching content is teaching reading. For those of you listening, if you're considering how to integrate content more effectively in your own classroom, start by finding small ways to connect subjects, foster student inquiry, and plan with your team. And of course, our elementary instructional coaches are here to help with any of that work. Just reach out to them and they would be happy to come out to your school and meet with your team. That's it for this episode of TandL Talks. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.